What is good, y'all? It is Freaky Friday, and thank you so much for tapping into the Be Influential podcast, where we dare you to be different. Today is June 11th, and you already know we are live at the Downtown Production Studios here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. BPT,
okay,
right? We need to let people know about the BPT.
Oh yeah,
it's on the come up.
It surely is. They're like, you're on your way to the studio. I'm like, yeah, this is an amazing studio
on the river.
Yes,
at the Knowlton Building. Y'all have to check it out. So today's show is all about how common is a toxic workplace. Like, how common do you think it is? Like 1 in 10, 1 in 20. Like, how common do you think people experience a toxic workplace?
I don't know. I'm not very good with statistics.
Well,
I'm sure that number is pretty high, though.
It's pretty high.
It's pretty high.
1 in 5. Ooh. 1 in 5 people. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 people
doing that.
And actually, I feel like none of us currently are in toxic work environments.
No, because we're in a creative environment.
This is the thing. Hang out with people who live like you.
Yes,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that statistic is too alarming for me.
Oh.
And to the point where I've had a lot of women actually reach out to me asking me, and like, what do I do?
Oh.
And like, you're talking to Queen quit my job. You know what I mean? What? You said what to me?
Stop. That's wrong.
Right?
Yeah, it's wrong. But sometimes, speaking as a single mom and as went through many, many struggles and worked many of jobs, sometimes you do feel like you're in a position where you need this job and you gotta feed your family. And when you look at your family and your mortgage and your rent and all of those responsibilities, sometimes you gotta just take it with a grain of salt and deal with it, and then go home and be miserable and drink a beer, go to sleep, and do it all over again.
You know, and we are gonna get so deep into that because that is so many people's reality, but it does not have to be. So whether you are a business owner or whether you are an employee, we are going to talk about how, what you can do about a toxic workplace, because sometimes it's not the business owner. Sometimes it's that one employee, is causing so many people stress. So like, what do we do about all these people? Now, we deal with a lot of people. You already know, guys. Miss Angie Legg, your personal brand bestie. And next to me, the beautiful.
Oh, I am celebrity publicist Sharontel Durscale.
Holla! And we are in the building. And today's influential word, before we get into it, I thought that this was super appropriate. It's not a word that I've heard, but I haven't used often.
Yeah.
Pernicious, which means toxic, bad, harmful. So I think we can actually use it.
I'm using that word today. I like the way it feels, even though it's so negative.
Too.
Yeah, right?
Pernicious.
I love it.
There's always a way to turn the negatives into a positive. So let's get right into it. Have you ever worked in a toxic environment?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
I'll say. I had an experience where there was this employee that my coworker, she just was very just negative Annie. But eventually, I speak up. I'm going in the office. I'm going over the head of the head of the head, and we're going to get this solved, because you spend so much of your time in an environment. You're going to be spending like 8-9 hours in a place, and stress can kill you.
And that is not the only thing that a terrible work environment causes.
Right.
But that is 100%.
So you got to deal with it, or just continue to become that toxic environment, because you will become what you surround yourself with. So it really is about, hey, taking a stand and knowing what's right, knowing what's wrong, and saying, what can I do about this? And then if they don't do anything, then maybe I need to start making the necessary changes, but also looking at it differently of how I'm looking at the situation too when someone is toxic, and knowing that however they feel, whatever they're going through, it has absolutely nothing to do with me. I'm here to do my job. I'm going to do it well. And then at the end of the day, start making your plans to exit. You have to do that.
Preach.
Yeah, that's it.
Preach.
Long
Guys, I
to-
mean, I hope you are listening because it takes some time to get to this
It does.
mindset
It does.
and to free yourself of the guilt that we're going to talk about and so on and so forth. And I've worked in plenty of toxic work environments. I've been in the restaurant business. I've been in the hospitality. I've been in sales. I mean, these are all like cutthroat, go fast, do drugs, like insane, you know? So I've completely, and I won't work in a toxic environment. And when I do actually take action, I actually realize that I'm better off. Like, yeah, calculated risk. And sometimes for me, it has been uncalculated, but for many, you can take calculated risk. So let's get into it. I know a lot of people have heard in the news, allegedly, Ellen DeGeneres has had a horrible workplace environment. And just after 19 years, she's been on the air, the show, 19 years. And like, she's done a lot, right?
Yes.
Came out for the LGBTQ family.
Yes, I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like, she has done a lot, and her brand is happy,
is fun, outgoing, dance,
do your best, like,
yes,
you know,
live your best life.
Yeah, know your value, and hear her show is like being called one of the most toxic workplaces in entertainment. And like, I just think that's so insane. But because of it, she's, you know, she's saying she's ending her show because she wants to, but sounds a little fishy to me.
You know, sometimes the heat in the kitchen gets too hot.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about this? I mean, like, this was all in the news, and it's a shame. And she hid it for 19 years, you know, because people didn't speak up. And we're gonna speak up today.
Oh,
we're gonna lay it out. So one of the things that you just said that is probably the most important part about combating this environment, it makes sense. Yes, like, how did it make you feel when you didn't want to go to work? You were obviously feeling like you were feeling tired. You would sometimes cry. Like, what were the feelings that you got when you were headed to your job in your car?
Immediately annoyed.
Absolutely.
Immediately annoyed. And it's almost as if you already expecting that, you know, that once you walk in there that you're going to have to deal with something that's just going to be absolutely crazy and asinine. I can't say that I had a lot of experiences like that, because my daughter will tell you I'm out. I just won't. I love.
This is very important, y'all.
You see me?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
See her?
Like, right? No, but people, how happy are we in our lives?
I'm living my best life right now.
And to your point, it's about momentum. Yeah. Like, when you already have the anxiety to go into your job, you're creating more momentum of negativity for the rest of your day. Yeah. Period. Yep. Even if nothing but good things happen, like, that energy of negativity sticks around.
How do you say positive when it's so negative?
It's really hard. You have to work yourself out of it. And that's why when the very first time I felt anxiety, I was working in New York City. It was my first big job, sales. It was nuts. And I loved it, and I did well. Is like a vulture. I don't know, like, sucks you dry.
I worked at a university there, so I know exactly how it can be.
And so I was just like, I broke down. I felt anxiety for the first time in my life, and I had to leave. And that's exactly, I quit my job and moved home and got a waitressing job.
And it's like, I don't want to tell people like, hey, jump out of the window and just get, well, you know me, I will. But I also want to, you know, be mindful that it's always not that easy to just get up and go when you have a mortgage, when you have these responsibilities. If you're a parent, you can't just get up and just go. But I will say that eventually you will have to. I mean, how can you stand in place for years and years on end and knowing that it's just super toxic?
I mean, for the same reason that people stay in,
toxic relationships.
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly.
I did that.
But, you know, and it causes, I mean, people have heart attacks because
I thought we were talking about that on Clubhouse this morning.
Yes, I
am. We were talking about, you know, how heart attacks, a lot of times heart attacks happen on Monday morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Monday morning. And I remember seeing that when I worked here in Connecticut and Stanford in the emergency department. I've seen a lot of heart attacks on Monday morning. That is very
insane.
true.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You literally set yourself up for failure when you put yourself or continue, you know, to entertain this environment. You're entertaining it. As crazy as that might sound to you, and as much as you don't want to hear it, you're entertaining it. If you don't stand up for yourself, leave, or create a plan to get the hell out.
Yeah,
you're enabling.
Yes, those are the options. That's it. There is really no sugarcoating or making this nice, you know, because I can tell a person like, hey, you need to figure like exactly what you just said. You ever talk to someone and they come up with a problem for every solution?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Don't get me started.
It's like strategize a plan. Give me the problem.
Oh, right now? Give you the problem?
Yeah.
Like with
like if I say, hey, you need to strategize a plan to, you know, to get out of there, and what would they say?
Oh, they would be like, oh, well, you know, I'm not being supported at home, or my kids, or benefits, or there's a million reasons.
Hey, why don't you go and talk to your employer about what you're feeling and what you're going through? This problem.
Well, okay, so let's get into that, because a lot of the time, here's the biggest problem is that when an employee does go to the manager or higher up, their egos are because I don't run a toxic work environment. There's no way I could be running a toxic work environment. That's you. Nobody else is complaining because everybody knows what's going on.
That's another thing. Yeah, when no one else is like you're the only one, but they feel it too.
Yes. And that's, you know, we're going to get there too. I know.
This is loaded.
This is deep. This is deep because this is, I mean, I just know so many people who are going through this situation. And we're going to have solutions for you guys. We're going to talk about, you know, the realness. We're going to talk about what you can do to get out of it. You know, Sharontel started a business.
Oh, yeah. She's a couple of them.
You know, I started a business. Like, and you gotta get into it.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait till we get into it because, you know, I'm
ready.
There's
so much, right? Yeah, there's so much. Okay. So first we need to talk about why are you staying in this toxic environment? It's a loaded question, but we need to talk about this out loud right now because figuring this out is going to be the propeller for what you do next, for the whole entire strategy. So a lot of people, it's actually their ego too, why they stay. They stay because they think they're the only ones who can do that job.
Oh, you know how many times I've seen people die or quit and they had someone in that seat the next day. Bye.
The next day. For less money, for whatever. The business moves on, right? But think of that complex. Like, oh, well, you know, nobody else can do much. If I leave, the whole place falls apart.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's a personal belief, though.
It could be ego, could be personal belief, it could be fact.
Trust
you know
me,
what
they'll
I mean?
Find someone else. That's how corporate works.
That's how it all works. That's how any business, that's how a small business works. You know? One of the other things, they actually love their job. Have you actually loved your job, but like your manager was a dick?
Yes. Because it's not necessarily the job.
Yes.
It's the people.
Yes.
The culture. The culture.
Well, sometimes the culture is like the clients and your customers, but
the toxicity becomes their own personal culture. It becomes their norm.
But what do you know? You love your job, and it's the people. Like, what do? You got to start looking for a new job.
it's so hard when you give that action to it, because if someone is in that environment, it's very hard sometimes for them to see that they can actually come out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to that point, a lot of people will then give up and become part of the culture.
That's the thing. Yeah, they can become their whole new environment. Let me tell you a quick story. When I was a teenager, I worked at McDonald's, right? I worked there for 4 hours. I think it's still in the with those funds that you get, unclaimed funds.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
I never picked up the paycheck. I worked there for 4 hours. They left me on drive-through by myself. That was a lot of hard. That was a lot of hard work, and I was like, I'm out of here. Yeah. And I just developed that kind of mentality. It's like, hey, like if you're not valuing my time, I'm out of here. But I went to abuse. I went to lunch and I did not come back. That was it. I was like, I'm over it already. So we always, and that's the thing about my show. Like I'm telling people, like they can choose their path. You can choose your path. You have choices and decisions that need to be made. And if you want to stay there, then
stay there.
Stay there. But if you want something better, you do have a choice.
You got it. As soon as you recognize it, start making moves.
Yeah.
Start figuring it out. Start networking more. Start doing something.
You got to do it.
You know? So we talked about how, let's get into the people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the toxic manager. I mean, is that the classic? So there's this movie called Bad Boss, and it's with Jennifer Aniston, and she like,
I wish I'd seen it.
It's actually really funny. I forget who the guy actors are. She like sexually harasses them. I mean, she does everything. So let's talk about conversations that we can have with our managers when we're experiencing certain situations with them. Okay, because we need to teach people how to have these conversations. It's the hardest part.
Oh, that's hard.
It is the hardest part, and we have to give them the power to do so. A lot of these guys don't have the words. Sometimes I don't have the words, especially when you're all jumbled. So, what do we say when that manager's micromanaging us? I hate being micromanaged. It's why I'm a better.
I think people can notice. When it's annoying or aggravating to you, and they'll do more of that thing. Don't let them ever see that they get to you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because if they can see that, I'm telling you, there are some not so nice people out here in this world, and they'll continue to do that thing. So,
because once they see that they can push the line, they're just going to keep on pushing.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so you have to nip in the bud. What's it?
Nip it in the bud. I'm like nip it in the bud.
We all thought it was nip it in the bud.
What is it?
It's nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud. Yeah.
Okay, nip it in the bud.
Yeah, nip it in the bud. Okay.
But
micromanaging.
Anyway, so how would you approach your manager? Like if I was being micromanaged, you know, like I would. I mean, you still have to be professional. Like, you know what I mean? Now is not the time to get rude. You have to play the game. You know, unfortunately, you have to play the game. And, you know, me personally, if someone was micromanaging me, I would walk in there and I'd be like, you know, I've noticed that you've been looking closer at the work that I've been doing. How have I been doing? What, you know, is there anything that I can change currently? And what's your role in managing me? Is this the way that people around here are being managed? And if so, you gotta leave. Like, you know what I mean?
But that's good though, because now you let that person know, like, I see you too.
Yes.
Like while you're doing all of that. So I love that.
Thanks.
That. I don't know if I would have said it so much.
What?
My manager was like, Chantel, you don't need to be so mean. I'm like, I don't know. I think out loud, and it's not, you know, I don't do it with like.
You have a big mouth, girl.
Yeah, I have a huge one. The teacher is like, Chantel, sit down, smack her. Yeah, so I would have loved for you to tell me that's how you should say it because I mean I've had experiences where I was in a room full blown arguing. Like we were screaming at the top of our lungs. Like, are you kidding me? Like I don't know. You know, growing up with my
That's the
grandmother and
way.
seeing so many older people working 25, 30, 40, 50 years on a job they completely hated. And I just always kept that in the forefront of my mind from McDonald's all the way up to right now that I just won't do anything that doesn't feel right to me, my soul, and fulfills whatever I want to do. I share, you know, on the show all the time about working as an EMT, working as a medical assistant, because I just was all over the place. Like, hey, that looks fun. I want to do that and do that and do that.
Same.
No, oh, you want to be nasty? I'm out of here. I could get somewhere, go somewhere else. So, but everybody just can't do that, and I think that's why we're giving them these tools of what does that look like with micromanaging? How can you manage that? How do you manage being really critical? What is that about?
I
What do
mean,
you say to someone that's like that?
and I think that sometimes tends to actually be the breaking point for a lot of people because people are sensitive. You know, people like we're in a sensitive ass, right?
Yeah, I
Cancel
came in a
culture
different era too.
and right, exactly. And so, but you have to be
That's
mindful
true.
of that. You
That's
have to
true.
know your audience. You have to know your employees, your workspace. And so that being said, like if someone is being, or if your boss is being overcritical of all of your work, still go in there, shut the door. You know, schedule an appointment, first of all. I would like to schedule 30 minutes. I need 30 solid minutes of your time in which I will not waste. But I would like that in your calendar, in my calendar, so that so that they know that this is serious without even saying that it's serious, you know? Don't do it without scheduling that appointment. Even if they're just like, oh, just come into the office now. No, you need to get your head prepared and wrapped around the
That's true.
situation prior to going in. So always schedule. If you're going to actually talk to somebody, always schedule. Do not do it on the fly. When you do it on the fly, you end up like Chantel.
That's true. Right out the door. Without even emptying your locker. Right out the door. Hey, did you know I left my thing?
She's still waiting on a check.
It is still there. Because I was looking at my name, I was like, let me see if I got some unclaimed funds. And there goes that $20. Because it was like $4.25 an hour then or something crazy. And I was like, I'm out of here. Like, you don't even value the fact that you just hired a new employee and they're learning this job and you just leave them. This isn't the place for me. No, I'm out of here.
This is going to be so good. Okay, so I'm going to give the right way to do it.
Okay, yes, so now I'm the wrong way.
We'll do it the way we do it, which is the happy way. Okay?
Yes.
You really want the truth? You want to be happy? Do it like us. You want to take the
I
slow
knew it
train?
was going to be like this
You
today.
want to take the slow
I
train?
knew this show was going to be like this today. What's the next one?
I was like, okay, let's talk about not feeling support from your manager because
how do people feel this way?
well, it's when that review comes around and they're like, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, and you're just like, I asked for help like forever ago. You know what I mean? Like I've told you that I've been struggling. Like you've had talks and you know, you talk to them about their micromanaging, you talk to them about being overcritical, you're getting no support. So now you're at this point where they really are not supporting you whatsoever. You're very clear of that. And how do you have that conversation of finally, you know, I'm coming to the end of the opportunity of working here, you know, for yourself. So you go in and you say, look, this is where you start being honest, you know? We had these conversations, and because you scheduled them, they're in your calendar, and you can refer back to them. And you can even put notes in the calendar. So you can go and say, on this date, I approached you, and I personally, you know, and this is what I've experienced afterwards, you know, and this overcritical, I approached you on this time, this is what we talked about, and this is what I've experienced. I still don't quite feel like I'm getting it right and I need your help. And if they still cannot provide that to you, you're in a toxic work environment, get the hell out.
Yeah, at that point, if they're not even willing to work on the things that you're bringing to their attention, then it is time to go.
And you got to find a different place.
Or you're just going to be there for 20,
you got to play the
40,
game.
50 years.
You know, it's not, you can't make it their fault. That's not how people work.
Yeah.
People don't like being blamed for anything.
Yeah, you don't need to do
That's
that.
That's not how you...
No, you don't need to do that. But bring it, no, I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't be like, you.
Yeah.
You know, but I would definitely, I don't know, like, I don't like anyone making me feel as if like my work is undervalued though, especially when I know that I'm coming in and I'm giving my all and you're just, you know, a lot of times though, when I've had conversations like this on LinkedIn, where we talked about like these toxic work environments where the manager doesn't even acknowledge your that part.
I mean, that wasn't even on the list. And no
acknowledgement.
It's still like,
that's terrible.
It's literally one of the number one reasons why people leave.
It makes me so happy. And I want to go above and beyond when someone is telling me I'm doing a good job.
Who doesn't?
Like when I say, oh, you guys are doing, it's just getting, the show is getting better and better. And you're like, it is?
Yeah,
you
right?
So, okay, like I'm going to bring more energy. Like, let's do this. People need to learn, like, really be grateful for your employees because they're going to take care of you.
They're running the business.
Yeah,
they're literally running the business.
Yeah.
But, you know,
but that's
unfortunately,
they
have the mentality that you can be replaced. Again, go back to that, guys.
Yeah.
You can be replaced, period. Which means that you can replace them too. Like, it works both ways.
Let me tell you, when you're sitting in an interview, my audience all over, when you're in an interview, that is a mutual thing. How can I be a benefit to you, and how can you be a benefit to me? Do not go in an interview as if like, I need you. Because they can feel that.
No,
they know that, right? And let me tell you why you need me.
And that's what a resume is. I tell people all the time, when it comes to your work, that is really not the time to be humble. No. Like, I really don't want to know that you're average. Show me your best stuff.
Yes. How are we going to be able to be here and be a benefit?
Are we aligned? Absolutely. And when you're on those interviews, you know, one of the number one things to ask an employer, do you know?
Oh, no. Tell me.
What's your turnaround rate?
Oh, that is important.
Right?
Yes.
Right? What is your turnaround rate?
Important.
And they can't lie.
Yes.
But you know what they do to trick you? Are you ready for this? Oh, well, Lou's been here for 40 years. Janet's been here for 5 years. They just start listing off a few people that have been there long term. I'm like, bro, you have 200 employees.
Yeah.
What's your turnaround rate?
I didn't even think about that, but that is that's a great question.
Right out the gate.
Yeah. Because if they're leaving faster than they're staying, there's something going on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When was it, who was the last person, who was the last person to fill this position and how long did they stay?
That's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
You got to.
That's why you the person of fantastic.
But this is
so great.
I got you, boo.
You got it.
I got you, boo. And these
that's a good one.
people,
yeah.
But it's because, like exactly what you said, it's because people go into interviews being like, I need you. What
do you see yourself here in 5 years? Hopefully then we have a mutual agreement that we can work together. That's where I see myself in 5 years. Yeah. And if it's working, then hey, we in. But if not, just be honest and just go in and be yourself.
Yes.
Do a workshop on maybe not. They might not get the job.
There's a balance. I think there actually is a balance of being yourself. But you gotta have to know your setting. Like if you're interviewing for a tech company versus JP Morgan, like, yeah, I'm really not gonna be this Ange at JP Morgan. I'm not gonna wear this shirt through an interview, you do have to read the room, when it comes to how you communicate, because it's all about the message. It doesn't, and this is what I try to tell people who create content willy-nilly, if you don't know who you're speaking to, your content is so much less effective. I'm not saying it won't reach people or not, but who are you talking to? Know who your audience is and deliver a message that will help them understand it.
Ooh, I got another story.
Here we go. Turn up.
I had an interview a long time ago, some years ago, and there were 10 people. It was a big boardroom. There were 10 people. I was in my jish.
This is
good. I love attention. I love, everyone
listening
to me. So they were asking questions, and I'm like, yes, this is what I can do. And then I'm asking them questions, and I think that we just need to, that nervous feel that you feel, just take that and start asking the necessary questions so you can maybe kind of determine if this is an environment that you want to put yourself in. But yeah, you do got to bring you.
You do. You absolutely do.
Mutual benefit.
You absolutely do.
Yeah.
You still have to read it.
Yes, you do. I was in there.
I was in there with those 10 people.
Yeah. You're the number one juror that's kind of confused about what's
I
going on here.
literally looked over. I was like, what are you? I'm painting the picture.
So good. I'm so animated, right?
And I'm gullible. So
see, here we are talking about working in a toxic environment, and you're laughing.
I know, because it really is a mindset.
You really have to do that.
But we're helping you with that mindset. Yeah. So let's talk about toxic employees. So your coworkers.
Okay.
Because we were talking about earlier how sometimes you're in a toxic environment and you're the only one willing to say anything. Everyone's living in the toxic environment, but you're the only
talking
one
about it in the break room,
right?
Mm-hmm. But when it comes to talking about bringing it to the manager or even talking to your coworker about it, I've done that too. There's a way to do that as well. You can pull them to the side, hey, I want to talk to you. This is what I'm feeling, or this is what I'm experiencing from you. Is there something that I may have said to offend you? That kind of thing. Oh no, maybe. But then if that continues, I'm telling you, there's steps and ladders to it. You got to still handle it, or just be okay with going to work every day dealing with a toxic coworker.
And you're not okay. You're not okay doing that.
It's not okay.
And this is where I get less political. I'm not. I have less empathy because when it comes to managers, when it comes to people above me, I know the politics of it. You have to be nice to them. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
For change. When it comes to my coworkers, I'm like, bro, first of all, so I had this situation. I was working in a beautiful design showroom, selling my tile, minding my business, being second in the store. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, living life. And we closed late on Thursdays. And so it was this girl that clearly did not like me, right? I had the style, I got the number, hey there, okay, I know, I recognize, I'm stupid. And she sat in the front, we both sat in the front, and we both were closing late, and I was exhausted. I was doing so many things at the time, and nobody had come in for 2 hours, and I fell asleep in my chair. And it was dark, it was cold, and I just fell just like this.
I'm going to the office and telling
and then the next day, the manager was just like, hey, and he knew the deal. And he was just like, she said that you fell asleep. And I was just like, that little.
What do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
I made more money.
Oh, okay. So
I got back at her. Listen, I don't like confrontation, but I also like confrontation. But you also know, so she was also a favorite. This person was also a favorite. And I was just like, listen, I know when I'm going to lose too. Mm-hmm. And I did fall asleep.
You're like, yeah, actually, I did.
Well, you wake up tired. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the other part about it is that I also don't like creating that energy again. I just take Yep.
Love it.
You know what I
Document
mean?
everything.
Y'all, document everything. This is what I'm talking about. Go into your calendar. That little told on me today. And make it a calendar. Make it the, at work problems calendar. Put it under a different name though, call it lollipop. And anytime things go wrong, put it in your calendar, put a few notes, and be on with it. And you can literally go back to it when you are ready to make a case and say, I've documented everything, B.
Oh, man.
So important. Like, what would you do if you were the manager and someone just came, all of this documented information about how toxic this workplace is?
Yeah, we gotta look at it.
Right?
We gotta look at it because you mess around and have a case with all of that. It's called workplace harassment and toxic environments and all of that stuff. We gotta look at it.
And to that point,
workplace,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
There are laws that will cover you when you're being discriminated on the obvious: sex, gender, color. In Connecticut, they just recently launched that you can't be discriminated on your hair.
Oh, wow.
Do you know why?
Tell me why.
Because of our natural hair.
Oh, wow.
And
that's wild that you even have to implement something like that. Like, no, that's not gonna work.
Because the afro has not been considered a corporate. That's more of a corporate, but corporate hair. And I remember at one of these places that I worked at, I'm always changing my hair. So one day I walked in with my natural hair and I was rocking it, and I rocked it for like a couple of weeks. And one of my colleagues was just like, I really like it. What do you think Brian's gonna say? I'm like, what Brian's gonna say?
What are you talking about? Right, my hair.
Say something. I'm like, say something. Okay, I'll write that down. I'll put that in my calendar. I'll put that right in my calendar. You know what I mean? But yeah, name discrimination, and then harassment. There are clear laws about harassment, and that could be your way out if you document properly. You know what I mean? Harassment comes in many, many forms, and different states consider different things harassment, and I've had situations. Have you ever been sent, has anyone ever gotten inappropriate with you on or during the work time?
No, but I've had coworkers where that's happened to, and they took the necessary channels, and that person
got terminated.
Yes, escorted right out the building. Eventually, there were steps to it, and I think that everything that we've said up until this point is communication and speaking out.
Do you agree?
At 100%. A lot of people don't do that in work environments. They don't speak out.
Know your value is like the problem. Guys, we are all, this is why I got into branding, because, specifically personal branding, because I believe that every single person has the opportunity to build a business. You know what I mean? From just who they are, being who they are.
Yeah. That's what my new book is.
What's it called?
Fear for What? I'm dying because it was one of the episodes we were talking about fear, being fearless, and then I got this idea because that's how my mind works. Random ideas. I now just released an ebook, Fear for What? It's a pathway to living beyond fear, and it really breaks it down of some steps that you can take to deal with that fear, because you got to practice it so that you can something where sometimes that can happen where you might just be like to get that, what Oprah says, that aha moment.
Yep.
And then you just do it. But then for some people, they gotta just take baby steps to it. So I recommend, if you have a fear of anything that you feel that may be holding you back from living your best life, definitely pick up this ebook. It is on a digital platform right now.
Mic drop. I love that.
That's important. Sometimes so you don't want to do that. When I went to go purchase my car, the sales lady, she was an amazing singer. She's my Instagram follower. We follow each other now. And she's like, and I want to get in the studio and I want to sing. And I'm like, what is stopping you?
Do
She's
it.
like, I'm in the dealership like 12 hours sometimes on days, and it's long days. And then by the time I get home, I'm tired. I'm like, honey, you're going to have to do both until that thing takes off. But there's no other way around it. It's not ever cute when you start business, right?
Let's talk about exit strategies, because there are a million different ways
you got to do it
right? But you got to do it. So let's talk about different scenarios, because I think we have to empower these people to take these next steps. So let's talk about becoming an entrepreneur, right? Okay, you're working a lot of hours, you know what I mean? When you have kids, you have a family, I get that. So you have a couple of options. You can, like in your scenario, that last scenario, they could leave their job. She could leave the car dealership and find a car dealership that will give her the hours that are better for her to build a side business. You know what I mean? Like if your current opportunity is not giving you the opportunity to start a new business, which is your goal,
that's true,
then you need to switch there, because you still need to pay them bills and all of that. You need to switch jobs that are going to give you what you need, and then work from there. If she's great, you just talk about how great she was. Yeah. She can go anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Stop making excuses.
Do both, and you got to do it. You got to do it.
And then you can do both.
How do people feel sometimes too that when you are doing both, that you got to do a whole bunch of things? You got to do all this all work. I used to really live under the motto of all work, no sleep. No, I'm going to sleep.
Like, I love sleep.
I love sleep, and that is so important, because I was just listening to Jeff Bezos say the other day, like, you can't make sound decisions when you're tired, and that is so true. So even if you do, like, just say 2 hours, you sent out pictures, you sent out emails, you
made a little video.
That's one step closer.
Let's get into that, because like part of an exit strategy, like building a brand, right? Making videos and content and things like that. Yes, how many people do you know making money off of making videos and going? You feel me? You feel me? Like audio, video production, like people are making money. You're making money off your brand. So talk to the people about how that's possible. You know, because people are just like, well,
but you can't even find an opportunity if you're not even looking for it.
So what are the opportunities out there? You just said you have a book,
right? But
where do you put it?
It's going to be a lot of places. It's going to be all over the place. But I had to go looking and talking to people and looking at people who already have books and say, how did you do that? Ask the question. That's the recent video that I just posted. Like, you got to ask the question, because that's the beautiful thing Michelle Obama said too, is that we all had to get here because of someone helping us. Like, being here with you, I'm constantly, I feel like I'm always in a room of opportunity, because you put me there, right? I'm like, you said I could do that. Let me change that up, and that makes me better. Yeah. You got to put yourself in a place that you want to go to. So a lot of times we can just sit there and be like, oh my God, I'm in this environment and I want to do that, but not even ask the question.
A lot of people aren't solution-based. They're problem-based.
Right, exactly.
And there's a solution to everything.
It sure is.
I'm telling you. And it's with
you got to go internet, you got to look for anything. I didn't know. Yeah, I literally get paid for doing my content on Instagram. I get paid, and now Instagram has a content
marketing opportunity where
you can get. I wish they would change the name, but they haven't changed the name.
What?
Holy TV. I'm putting videos and content on there. You know, there's so many apps that you can literally get paid from your phone, and you don't have to. And then I'll tell people that, because I've told people that recently, I'm like, well, how do I do that? And they want you to give them all the steps. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that, but I'm going to introduce you, and then you can go and search and seek for yourself, and you be more receiving and be more open to the celebration of once you see that thing become, because you searched for it and you worked for it and you've seen it to reality. So I there's so many different ways you can make money just with your voice. Just creating content just by just oh
Amazon, but Gary,
I'm working on voiceover now.
I know. Literally books, cartoons,
cooking shows,
all of it.
That shit, all about ink leg.
But a lot of people are just scared. They're just scared. Scared.
And see, that's why they got to pick up the ebooks. Fear for what? That's what I'm saying. Like, fear for what?
A lot of people are taught fear too.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people have literally grown up. They're just not strong enough. Yeah, they've been taught like media, but even so for me, both my mothers actually were immigrants, and so I actually had two dynamics, both poor, but still two dynamics of one was like really bad with money, and then one wouldn't spend a single dime. Like it was like weird, but still poor. Like it was, I don't know. But when you have that, you have to break these generational, curses.
Yes.
It is difficult. It is difficult, and we're here to tell you that it is possible. Ebooks, courses. I'm hosting a workshop for architects, builders, and designers, and charging a little bit. You know what I mean? I got a sponsor, selling my digital cards. There are so many ways to do it.
Affirmations.
Affirmations. Start with your affirmations every single morning. It sounds so
I know.
Witchy, but exactly.
You can make money selling other people's products. Like I have my Amazon influencer.
Same.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's just making money while you're sleeping.
Merchandise.
You don't have to. I'm serious. Like merchandise. My merchandise sold out 4 times during COVID. Like you don't. And I was sleeping and I was hearing the ding, the money thing going off every time they order, and I was like, there you go. And it's sending out all of just my creativity out to the world. We're sitting on ideas, guaranteed. Guaranteed. People have the answers. People have the answers, but they
have
question
to change your words.
You do.
But you have to change your words. Like these ho-hums, like anything is possible. Like we're telling you, literally anything is possible.
And self-talk is important. What are you saying to yourself? What are you talking about?
I actually recently learned that your words, actually even letters, all have a energy field around it.
Yes. Life.
And literally, you could literally speak life. It's not the Bible. Everything says it. You can either speak life to you or someone else, or you could literally speak the reality that's trash in your life. It's really it sounds voodoo, but
it is literally that simple, and that's why you meditate in the morning.
Oh, I meditate every single day. And I was telling them on Clubhouse where I'm like, I'm so excited. Yes, my gratitude. I'm so grateful for another day. Like, it's so great. I was listening to a girl this morning on Clubhouse. She's so amazing. I can't wait to bring her on my show. But she was talking, she kept saying trying, and it was doing something to my chest. And I'm like, no, you're not trying. You are doing it. And that's the thing too, that we want this microwave success. Yes, I love it because I want the world to just create. Can you imagine if everyone created and we just were a benefit for each other? Like all of us who walk across the street, like, hey man, I got some apples. And they're like, I got some oranges. Okay, let's trade. That's what the business is about. It's about commerce and exchange. And be very mindful of your words. Like if you're getting up and you're doing your 9 to 5 and you have your side hustle, be okay with your decision of that and don't question it, and fall in love. I love to say trust the process, but also fall in love with that process and don't worry about when or what it's going to look like. Because let me tell you, once you get to whatever that is, then you're going to just continue. There is no end until you take your last breath. So it's just constant. I'm going to the next level. I'm going to the next level, and I'm constantly creating. I thought that when I first got on national TV, I'm like, this is it. I made it. Right? That's it. And you don't stop there. That's not true. It's just kind of like a reminder of what you're capable of being and who you are. Like look around at your circle and they'll tell you all about like where you're going. I'm telling you. So just trust the process and fall in love with it and enjoy whatever it is that you do. So if you're going to a 9 to 5 every day, pick something that you feel good about doing, because everybody's not an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? I know that. Maybe they're there to be an asset for others because they do that thing well. And if that's the case, then whatever that thing is that you do well, do it in an environment that supports and appreciates that thing that you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that goes to you, and you're 100% right. Not everybody's an entrepreneur.
No.
I completely get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are entrepreneurs, some people are employees for life.
Right.
But that should not stop you from building your brand
Yes.
and leveraging it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right.
Having merch is not being an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Like, you can build your brand. And if you build your brand, like, look what happened in the pandemic. The people who are getting the job and getting these crazy bonuses because nobody wants to work, you know, have built their brands. They have, and brand is not just built online, y'all. You know, I talk a lot about it online because it's like hot, but most influence, most brands are built offline. Your real in-person relationship, you know, and it's so important to build that brand, network, let people know what you do, let everybody know what the heck you do.
That's very interesting. You're talking about, how long was I?
I feel like once Clubhouse started, she hasn't been off it. Once it released the app, she hasn't signed off.
Here. Yeah, no, like this is crazy. So there was a lady there this morning. She was talking about the culture of like networking. She's on the West Coast, and she says a lot of times it's like cutthroat. Kind of time I really get like networking with you because I need to get this to this, and that's how it is sometimes in California, right? But then when you're here in New York or Connecticut, you can go at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and go to a networking event. I know I have. I went and had coffee at networking events at 9 a.m. I even did. One of my friends, she did cupcakes and champagne. That was so much fun. So
I love that.
Cupcakes and champagne, right? It was so cute. Yes, and we played games and we learned what each other do. And hey, I want to be on a commercial. You cast for commercials? Let's exchange cards. Oh, you need some help with how you can be your own PR? Hey, hit me up. I can, give you some tips. It's all about, hey, how can we benefit each other? And the only way that you would know that is to network. 100% of the business and all of my connections, a lot of people say, how did you get to know that person? Because yeah, as you see, I got a really cool guy. FCC who's coming on my show. Yeah, he's a big guy in Hollywood. Yeah. Guy in Hollywood, film producer, filmmaking. Yeah, so it's basically what I'm saying is that it's 100% networking for sure. It's about who you know.
That strategy is so effective.
It works in the employee environment,
everywhere.
Yeah.
And actually, we're gonna do a little humble brag because we don't like to be humble, but a little bit.
You gotta
because I'm
do
so
that.
excited because I feel like
June would say
so
that.
much gratitude.
Remember, June said you have to share that.
Yes.
Because we may be the only Bible that someone may be looking at. And if I shy away from saying, hey, I was on Steve Harvey show or I was on Dr. Oz, or how would they even know that it's possible?
Right.
You have to speak about it. And if people know you and they've gotten to know your brand, they will know that the intent is always love.
That the authenticity is there,
Yeah, so don't worry about that. So,
and on top of the fact, like, you don't want people not cheering you on around you, and I feel like you guys are like my team, my community, my family, right?
For sure.
Right?
And you do that.
Hey girls,
you're like, what happened?
Guess what happened? So I'm part of this incredible organization called the Home Builders and Remodelers Association. I've been part of it for like 4 years, and they announced a month ago, 2 months ago.
You didn't say nothing.
I love it. They give out awards every year, and for 2020, I was the Member of the Year, which is like, like out of 600 members, I won it. Yeah, in the hardest in COVID. during COVID, you know?
We have to say that. We're in a pandemic. So if you're creating and you're on a great team, and that's amazing. And you're accomplishing.
But that's the network, that's the brand. Right. And this week, just Wednesday, was the gala. So we all got together. All the winners accepted the awards. There's over 200 people at this event. And when I got up there, you already know, the bestie came out. I made sure, you know, right? I made sure that every person in that room did not forget who I was. And even today on my LinkedIn, I'm getting connections of people who I don't know who found me. I'm getting messages congratulating me of people I've never met in my life. I've booked 5 appointments already.
Yeah.
Done.
I love it.
Over. Strategy network. For God's sake. You know, but that's how
so
powerful it is. Yeah, and that's how powerful brand.
For you. When I heard
is
home builders, I mean, you didn't even have to say the entire sentence. I was just like so excited and couldn't wait to hear what you were about to say, because when you think about home building, you're really creating a space for someone who's that's a part of their lifestyle. That's going to be their lifestyle, part of their lifestyle, and you're a part of that. That is really cool.
Big time. It's a very influential industry.
I love it.
They didn't shut down, and this industry is still booming like crazy. Yeah. It's been very hectic.
That's amazing.
And I was just really excited to, you know, celebrate and be celebrated. Shit.
I celebrated.
I know you do. I know, like you are my personality. What does Morgan say? When you need to take a Xanax to start your work day, it's time to stop.
Yes. We need to pin that one. Absolutely. That is so funny.
I love it. So, what were your biggest takeaways, girl? This is fun. This is interesting.
Own your own space and know your boundaries. Yeah, and if it's going, right? I mean, if it's something it feels like was way outside of the boundaries, then we need to strategize a plan to figure out how we're going to either make this better or how we're going to get out of it. That's it. It's either make a plan, make it better, or get out.
For me, you know, the takeaway was really about just documenting it. Like, I'm obsessed with that. Because I just feel like that's proof.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it helps you realize maybe how often it's happening. Maybe you don't even realize, you know, how bad it is. And, you know, documenting it to help you advance, not to be vindictive, you know, to help you get to, or to help you understand the situation better. You have to pose it in a positive way.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're not writing it down to get at the manager. You're writing it down to, you know, figure out if this space, if this work environment is where you need to be.
Oh, I like that one too.
You know?
Yeah.
You got it.
I like
you can't look at it in the negative. Yeah, you can't look at it in the negative. But take action. You have to record it. You have to know what's going on. So, wow. We're going to go off and live our entrepreneurial life.
Live our best life and eat good and get ready.
But one last thing is, you know, one last takeaway actually, because as an entrepreneur, like, we work with people. We also need to provide a good work environment.
That's very true. But I would never take on a client. And if I have taken on a client and it didn't feel good, then you can cut that off too in business.
Yeah. Period.
Yeah.
100%. You know, and you as a business owner, are you aware that there might be some pernicious activity right at the last minute?
You know, the winning shot. Oh my goodness. That's the buzzer. That's it. The buzzer shot.
Like Kobe, y'all. You can't mess with me. It's a good week, y'all. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Big shout out to Downtime Productions here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The team, Main Magic Mike in the background. Thanks so much.
Yo.
And
absolutely.
we're out.
You're out. This is it.
Peace.
Thanks so much for tapping into the Be Influential podcast, where we dare you to be different. I'm your host, Angie Legg, and you can catch me and my co-host, Sharontel Durskell, every Friday live at 11 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Clubhouse. And a big shout out to my sponsor, 10K Cards, the modern business card.